Now, I'm going to tell you a story about when I was a little boy in school. I was actually in secondary school. I was in Hannah's class, like in Hannah, right? And we were in school one day, lads, right? And there was a big storm. Remember the big storm we had recently?
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like that. And we were all in school and we were up in one of the prefab rooms. I can't remember what it was called. Room 7 or 8, I think it was. And next minute, this wind stuck up. Hear the wind outside now?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but it got real loud. And we saw the trees all got shaking. And next, all of a sudden, wasn't there a cracking sound? And didn't a tree crack in on the window on the roof of the prefab and fell down and missed the teacher by centimetres, and he missed his head. And we all said, Jesus. And teacher, quick, get out, out, out. And we ran out to the door and we grabbed our stuff. And the wind was ferocious and the bins being blown around and everyone was jumping out to win the prefabs at the same time because their windows after being blown in. So we all said, quick, down into the new building. And the new building was a new building and it was strong and there was loads of bricks in it. So it was much stronger than the old prefabs. So we all went down anyway. We all went in. And we were all, Jesus Christ, this is some adventure, we were saying. And all the teachers ground up all their classes and went around and checked to see was everyone there. And the principal now fella, I didn't particularly like him. He's been a cranky old fecker. He used to always pick on me because I had long hair and I used to wear Doc Martens to school, and even though you wore your proper uniform, he'd always kind of pick on you because he'd always try to find some fault with you. So he used to always be on to me. He didn't like me. So he came up anyway. He was going around. Everyone accounted for in this class, and the teacher goes, "That's everyone's accounted for." And we said, "No, hang on there a minute. There's not Jason Doyle's missing." And he looked down at the roll and said, "No, he wasn't in today." And I said, "He wasn't in when the roll was ready. He missed the bus. He was in. He's in." He said, "Well, his name is not on the list, so he's not in." And I said, "He is in. He was in, sir. He wasn't done. You're in. Don't you give me back answers and all this kind of shit of him." And I said, "You fucking idiot," I said to myself, right? So I turned to Conor Neary and we said, "Sure, he was in." I said, "I know." So I think it was myself and Conor Neary and Jason and Kevin Goff. We said, "He's outside, he's out playing basketball last time I saw him." So they all round up everyone in, they round up everyone into the kind of separate classrooms, and we were in the art room, and we decided to try to tell you what we'll do. So we go out now, we look for Doyle. So when the teacher wasn't looking, we opened the window and 3 of us jumped out and we ran out. The wind was ferocious. There were slates flying and things flying. We ran around where the back of the prefab where the ledges of smoke and across where the basketball court, and we saw that the basketball things had been blown down the wind, and over the very far corner wasn't one blown down. Now all we could hear was the cries of your man Doyle. What was he do after happening to him?
A tree fell on him.
Yeah, the tree and the basketball thing. Here he was and he trapped underneath it, and his leg was all kind of squashed and crushed. And we said, "Oh Jesus," I said, "Oh no." So we said, "What are we going to do?" So we all heaved and lifted and pulled and dragged, and eventually we lifted him up and pulled him out. So then we had to throw him onto our shoulders, and his leg looked like it was broken, and we lifted him on and we carried him across. Now the wind was ferocious, there was things flying around, but if we hadn't have got there, your man definitely would have died because there were trees falling down left, right and centre. So we got down as far as back to the window anyway, and just as we were opening the window and lifting your man back in the window, here Goggles walked in. We called him Goggles because he had 4 eyes, or he wore glasses. And Diarmuid was his name, Diarmuid O'Hanlon. And anyway, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're outside getting this fella." "I told you not to go outside." I said, "Well, I told you your man was in school today." "He wasn't." And I said, Doyle lifts up his head. I said, "It must be a ghost head, is it, sir? Look, there he is." "I told you not to go." And I said, he was outside because he was trapped underneath
Did
a
you
tree.
see? If we didn't go away, he could have died.
Yeah. And he said, "I told," and I said, "Listen, if we didn't go, he would have been dead. Could you handle that, could you?" "I told you." He couldn't get away from the point what he told us. The next minute, the think it was yours or Mr. Hughes came in. So what's going on here? And we said, "I told them boys, that's what." And I said, "Yeah, and we told you Jason Doyle was in school today. And look at him, we rescued him." And we kind of unravelled the story and told your man. And Hughes looked at Goggles and he says, "Only for these lads going outside, he would have been dead." and we would have to deal with that and his mother and father and all the consequences. So think you, maybe, I'd say you owe these lads an apology, do you? And he went, all right. And he just stormed off. Now, the whole would never give you an apology. He was an awful old yoke, right? And but he knew he was wrong, right? So we got Dial's leg fixed up anyway. But sure, by that stage, we got word in that the whole country was locked down and no one could get home. The buses couldn't come out. So we kind of had to make do. But one of the things that we had been doing that day was we were going to be making soup. And we had all the ingredients for the side, with carrots, and everyone had loads of stuff. And I think some of the other classes made bread that day. So we had access to the home economics room. So we got chopping anyway, and we actually made the most biggest pots of gorgeous vegetable soup. And everyone was delighted, and we all kind of huddled down for the evening. Even though the lights were gone out, just before it got getting dark, we kind of candled.
Really fast.
Yeah, we didn't eat real fast. We just loved it, and we had lovely brown bread, and there was butter. And one of the things I did, you know, the man out with goggles.
Mm-hmm.
When he wasn't looking, because he really annoyed me, I got washing up liquid. There was washing up liquid and pepper, and I put it into his soup. And I didn't give it to him now, I gave one to the girls. And one of the girls, I think it was Charlie Kyo, she said, there you are now, Mr. Hanlon there. She said, well, thanks very much, thank you. So he started eating anyway. And he was so hungry, the poor old creator, especially when there was loads of salt and pepper in it. He wouldn't know the flavour. And he was, what do you call it? He drank the whole thing real fast. And I think someone gave him some water afterwards, and he was coughing. And when he coughed, you know what happened? Bubbles came out of his nose. Honest to God. So he didn't know what was going on with him, but he had to kind of put up with it. Apparently someone told me when he was shiting for weeks, he was farting bubbles. I don't know what they threw in it now, but that's what I heard anyway. And but listen, that happened, and then we all cuddled up for the evening, and we all told ghost stories and sang songs and acted the Egypt and messed and stuff. And that morning came anyway, and I think it was Mr. Hughes came in and said, we've got good news, lads. The roads are being cleared. The buses can come and can bring you home. We said, well, hey. So we all packed up our gear anyway, and we the buses came, and the principal was waving at us as he was going by, but he was still hiccuping from the what do you call it, not from the soup. Mm-hmm. And every now and again you see like a bubble coming out of his nose, and he waved at us goodbye.
And did he have a hiccup?
Yeah, he had hiccups because of pepper and salt gave him hiccups, yeah. And we went home, and because the storm had caused so much damage, the school was closed for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we had time off work as well. And I said, that's true. Jason Dial will tell you that story for truth. That's 100%.
Who is Jason Dial?
He was a fellow who was in school that lives in Ballygarrett.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a night of big storm.
Ballindagan and Ballygarrett are nearly the same name.
The sound, yeah, the two bellies in them, yeah. Ballies. Meaning town, I think. Sure, that's grand. Leave you alone, so. Night now, lads.
You okay? Night. Good night.